Welcome to Boostpad Academy Computer Tutorial Series. This is tutorial number 7. In this tutorial, I will be discussing about the types of keyboard. If you remember in the last tutorial, I discussed about the sections of keyboard, types of keyboard. There are two types of keyboard. This first one is standard keyboard, while the second one is enhanced keyboard. What is the difference between these two types of keyboard? So the major difference on these two types of keyboard are based on their keys. So the standard keyboard and the enhanced keyboard. The first difference is in the function keys. In the standard keyboard, there are 10 functions keys. That is, we have F1 to F12. Like this one that we have 12 function keys, a standard keyboard has 10 function keys, while an enhanced keyboard have 12 function key. So like the one we are looking at the screen, this is an example of enhanced keyboard. Secondly is that a standard keyboard has between 84 to 89 keys. That is, if we count all these keys together, if we count everything, it's going to be within the ranges of 84 to 89. But for an enhanced keyboard, the total number of keys is between 101 to 104. And there are some enhanced keyboards that have media keys, so it can be more than that, but an enhanced keyboard has between the ranges of 101 to 104 keys. So like the one we are having on the screen, we can see these keys. So keys like this in a standard keyboard, you may not find them. That's the reason why the number of keys is lesser than that of the enhanced keyboard. So the two keyboards, they have performed the same functions. So the only difference between them is that an enhanced keyboard is an upgraded version of a standard keyboard. The standard keyboard, the keyboard that is formerly known as a standard keyboard, is the one that was earlier using before the advent of the enhanced keyboard. So there is no much difference about them in the use, because you can use the two of them to work on the computer system. So the essence of this is just for knowledge sake, just for us to be able to understand that there are two versions of keyboard. So now the enhanced keyboard is the one that is very common and is the one that people will tell you as standard keyboard. So thank you very much for this series. This is video number 8. In this tutorial, I will be discussing about the keyboard keys. All the keys in the keyboard, how do we use them, especially the special keys. We have to understand the use of these keys before we can work successfully on a computer system. So like I said, there are 5 sections in the keyboard. The first one is alphanumeric keys, where we have alphabet and number. We have the numeric key at the right side of the keyboard, where we have only the number. We have the special keys that surrounded the alphanumeric keys. So each of these keys, we are going to take them one after the other. We have the arrow or cursor key, and we have the function keys. So we are starting with the first one, which is alphanumeric keys. So these keys are used for typing alphabets and number. If you want to type, so we use the alphabet. When you press any of the alphabet, it will appear on the screen. And if you need to type in numbers, you can use the numbers at the top of the alphabet. When you press on each of these numbers, it will appear on the screen. That's the use of alphanumeric keys. Then we have numeric keys in case you want to type numbers, or the work you are doing has to do with mere number. You can use the numeric key at the right side of the keyboard to make it faster. So for you to use numeric keys for some keyboard, you have to on the num lock. If you look at the top, you will see the key where they write num lock. It means number lock. If you don't hold the num lock, if you press any of the number, it may not appear on the screen. That is, the computer may not respond. That is, you have to on the num-lock by pressing it. Once you press it once, it has on, and you can start using any of the keys. So like I said, so numeric key is used for typing numbers. So the third one is special keys. This is the one of the center area, main focus of this aspect, because we have to understand all the special keys, what each of these keys are used for us to be able to work successfully on a computer system. So like I said, so the special keys is used with other keys for special command, which means most of these keys, when we want to use them, we have to press them then alongside with other keys, and we have some that have their own specific function. So let's start with the first one, which is the escape key. ESC means escape. So escape key is used to cancel or stop a command. For example, if we pick a command and we want to stop that command, once we press escape, it will deactivate the command. Let's look for an instance. So this is a shape. Let's look at this side. We have the shape tools. If I pick on any of these shapes by clicking on any of them, like this one, this hexagon, as I click on it, if I come to the screen, if I click and drag, it will drop the shape. As long as I have not removed, I have not done any other thing, if I press escape, it will disappear. That is, it deactivates that option. If I do that again, if I press escape, it will disappear. But if I draw the shape and I still go ahead and draw another one, it means the first one I've drawn has already stayed. So even if I press escape, the second one can only disappear, but this first one will still be there. So that's what we use the escape key for, to deactivate a function. So the next one is the tab key. This is used to give file spacing before text. So for instance, let's go to our Word. As we know, if we want to type, let's type something. Computer can be defined as an electronic machine. So let me bold it for us to be able to see clearly. So we can see, as I started this paragraph, there is no space at the beginning of the paragraph. And normally, if we want to start a paragraph, we usually give space. So instead of us to be using spacebar and be pressing it continuously so that we can have enough space, we can use tab. If we use tab once, you can see it gives like, so the range of that spacing is like 5 spacing before the text. And another advantage of using tab is that anytime you want to start a new paragraph, it will automatically put the spacing before the paragraph. So you can see that's the end of the text. You can see the blinking, that line blinking, we call it cursor. So if I go to the next paragraph, you will see the cursor automatically give some spacing. That's one of the advantages of using tab for spacing instead of using spacebar. If you use spacebar, by the time you are going to the next paragraph, you are still going to continue to be using the spacebar because it will not automate the spacing. So cap lock. We use cap lock to type in capital letter. So if you on the cap lock, any keys you press on the computer keyboard will be in capital letter. So if you have off the cap lock, so all the keys will be in small letter. Let us practicalize that. I'm going to use an on-screen keyboard for you to understand. We can see the keyboard. So this is an on-screen keyboard. This is cap lock. It will be written caps. And if it is not written, you can see the arrow like the keyboard I used. if we look at the keys, all the keys are in small letter. But if you come here and I hold the cap lock, if you hold the cap lock on your screen, all the alphabet you can see on the screen, everything changed to a capital letter, which means if I hold the cap lock, anything I type on my computer system now is going to be in capital. Let me remove this one from the screen. So let me start computer. So you can see as I'm typing, everything appeared in capital letter. If I hold the cap lock by pressing the cap lock again, you can see everything changed back to small letter. So if I type now, everything will be in small letter. So that is the use of cap lock. We use it to type in capital letter by holding the cap lock. Once we hold the cap lock, everything we do will appear in small letter. So the next key is the shift key. Below the cap lock, we have the shift key. So the shift is used with other keys for different functions. So shift key is one of the key we have to understand its use proper for us to be able to work on the computer system. Let's look at some of the work we use the shift key for. The first one is that the shift key is used for typing special characters. What do we mean by special characters? If we look at our keyboard, I will bring back your let's look at this keyboard. So let's look at the number, the numeric keys. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But if we look at the top of it, there are some other character there. So like the exclamation mark. So like this one, normally under the 2 we used to have the at key. Let me bring the on-screen keyboard again for us to be able to understand it better. So this is an on-screen keyboard. So we can see under 1 we have the exclamation mark, under 2 we have the heart, but hearts at the top left corner. Under 3 we have the hash, which means with under each of the number we also have some other character. So it means for each of these keys we can use them to type any of the 2 characters. By default, when we type any of this letter, when we press any of the key, it is the character that appear boldly that will appear. So if I click on this one, it is 1 that will appear on the screen. So let me go back to an MS Word to illustrate that. So let me delete that. So now if I press 1 will appear. If I press 2 will appear. 3, 4, 5. The same thing with the letters Q, W, E. If I press any of these, even let's look at this special character, we can see something like we have semicolon. You can see if I press it, the semicolon will appear. But in a situation whereby we need the other character like the exclamation mark, the heart, and the hash, and other one like that. So shift key is one of the things we do. You press down the shift key. You press it down without lifting your hand. Then you press any of them. Like the one, if I press down my shift, you can see the shift. It appears blue on the keyboard. It means I press it down without lifting my hand. So then if I press 1, it is the exclamation mark that will appear. If you have pressed 2, it is the heart sign. If I press 3, it is the hash. 2, it is the heart sign. If I press 3 without lifting my hand, it will be hash. If I press down the shift again, so it will be $sign. Same thing like that, which means any keys on the keyboard that you see 2 different characters appeared, if you need to type the other character, you have to press down the shift button before you press the key for you to get that character. So the next button we are going to, so like I said, we can also use shift key for highlighting. What do I mean by highlight? If you want to do anything on a computer system, you have to highlight first. So that, like what you see on the screen now, is what you call highlight. Let me bring some text. Now, if I want to highlight, assuming I want to give color to the first line, computer can be defined as an electronic machine. Let me put that, machine. So if I want to give color to that first line, so the way I will tell the computer that it is only the first paragraph I want to give this color is by highlighting the text. How do we highlight? You take your cursor, like I said, that line blinking, that's what we call cursor, to the beginning of the text. That's where the text. So then you press down the shift key. Let me bring back the on-screen keyboard. You press down the shift key, you can see it appear blue. Then you go to the arrow, the cursor key, you know, the 4 arrows, and you can see where we have our cursor. We have our cursor at the left side, and we want to highlight to the right side, which means we are going to use the right arrow key. You can see it highlighting as I'm pressing it one after the other. It's highlighting the text one after the other. So we can use it for highlighting text. So if the text you want to highlight are many, you can use down arrow. It will jump to the next line, so it will be line by line till you cover the whole text. So if you want to go back, if I press the up arrow, so you can see it's moving up. If I press the back arrow key, so it will going back character by character. So that's one of another functions of the shift key. We can use the shift key for highlighting, and at the same time we can also use the shift key for selecting objects. So we can use the shift key for selecting object. Let's take, for instance, let me bring some, as we have some files here. If I select the first one and I want to select multiple one, if I press that the shift key, so I can, then I use the arrow key, you can see that I have other items down. So if I want to select them like that, I will press the down arrow key, that is the down button. You can see as I'm pressing it, it's highlighting it downward. If I should lift my hand on the shift key and I press, all the highlight will disappear. So which means for you to highlight, you have to press down the shift key, then the text you want to highlight, then the control key. The control key, that's the last key, is also one of the important keys that we have to understand, that the special key. So the control key is used with other keys for special functions like text formatting. If we want to format text like bold, we want to italize it, giving it italic, or we want to underline, all those formatting requires the use of control key. So let's take, for instance, if I want to bold the first paragraph, the first thing, like I said, to tell the computer that it is the first paragraph I want to bold is by highlighting the text. How do we highlight the text? We have the cursor at the last, after the last letter of the first paragraph. I can highlight it to the back by pressing that the shift, then the back arrow key. The back arrow key. This is the back arrow key. This is the front arrow key. This is the up. This is down. If I press down the shift, then I will use this back arrow key by pressing it. So press down the shift, then back arrow key. You can see it will be highlighting it like that. So till I get to the last line. Now I covered everything. So if I press Control, you press down the Control, you can see it highlight. Then I press B, it will bold. If I want to unbold it, I will press B again. It will remove it from bold. So that's what we call formatting. If I want to bold it, Control B, If I want to italize, to take it to italic form, Control I will press down the control, I will press I. You can see everything looks slant. So, or if I want to underline it, I will press down the control. If I press U, it underline. So which means we use control key alongside with other keys to do some special functions like text formatting, like I said, text formatting, or text formatting, or copy, cut, and paste. We can use it to copy, to cut, or paste text. This first line, I want to copy it, the one we formatted, and I want another copy of it after the second paragraph. Then what I'm going to do, I will highlight, just like I said, to tell the computer this is what I want to copy. Using Shift and the arrow key, I've highlighted it. If I press Control, I press down the control button. Let me bring down the on screen again. If I press down the control, I will press C. Nothing will appear, but the text has been copied. Then the next thing, you go to where you want the text to appear by taking the cursor. You can see the cursor is now blinking. That is where I want another copy of that text, those texts. So if I paste it, you can see it appear. We can use it for copy and paste. You can use it for cut and paste. Computer, this word computer, I want to remove it. I can cut it off. Control X, you can see it disappeared. If I come down after the last paragraph, you can see where it's blinking. If I paste it there, the computer will appear there. That's what we call copy and paste. So that's another functions of the Shift key. We can use it for copy, cut, and paste. Then the next one is alternate key. Alternate key is also used with other keys for special functions. So we don't have we don't mostly use alternate key when we are working on a computer system. We can use it to close a program. If we press down the Alt key, then we press F4, it will close a program. If we have many programs we open on our computer and we want to close any of them, we don't want to use it, you can use Alt plus F4. That means you press down Alt, then you press F4, so the program will close. We can use it to restart a computer, especially when your system is hanging. You are doing something and the system just hang and you are having issue. You can use the force restart. It will firstly close the program. How do you do that? You press Control Alt Delete. Control Alt Delete. We use 3 keys. You use your thumb to press down the control, or you use the index to press down the control. You use your thumb to press down the Alt. You just press the delete once. You will press both Control Alt together, then you press the delete button once. So the next thing you say, it will force the program. The computer may bring an instruction. Do you want to shut down this computer, or do you want to auto restart? So that's another functions of the alternate key. Then we have the spacebar to give space between our text. We have, so to give spacing between our text, just like I said, we have the enter key. So enter key, that is the key we use to go to the next line. You can see as I was typing, if I want to go to this next line, I will press enter. It will go to the next paragraph. You are working, you want to go to the next paragraph, you press enter. That is the work of the enter key. We also use enter key to accept. So we also use enter key to accept a command. So to accept an action, just like I said, if I want to save now, if I want to save Control S, if I want to save a document, it's loading. So after writing the name, I want to use to save computer. You can see the word save here. If I don't click on it, even if I use enter key, it will accept. So it will save the program. So that's another functions of the enter key, to accept a command. Then the next key is space bar. So I also want you to understand this better. We have space bar and we have the delete button. These two buttons, people used to get confused with them. So let's understand them better. The two of them are used for deleting. We use them to remove text from the screen. So what's the difference between the two of them? That's what we need to understand, and that's what I'm going to explain in this video. So to remove character to the left or to the right, if we want to remove character to the left, we use backspace. If we want to remove character to the right, we use delete button. What do I mean by removing character to the left and right? So let's go back to our Microsoft Word. So let me bring my cursor here. You can see the cursor blinking. At the back of the blinking, that's where we have that. At the front of which we have accept. At the back we have that. If I want to delete the text before that cursor that is blinking, so I will use the backspace. Let's look at it. If I press backspace, it will delete the spacing between them. If I press it again, it will delete the T. You can see, if I press it again, it will delete the A for that. If I press it, it will delete the H, delete the T. You can see, which means it's deleting to the what? To the left. But if I want to delete the text at the front of that cursor, that's what we use the delete button for. If I press delete, it will be deleting ACCEPT, ACCEPT. So it's deleting it them to the right. Those are the two differences between the backspace and the delete. We have to understand these two buttons better. So like I said, backspace is used to delete to the left, while the delete key is used to delete text to the right. The next one is arrow or cursor keys. I've been using these keys and I've described it many times. It is used for selecting or removing or moving cursor, while the last one is function keys, that is the F keys. We use the F keys along with other keys for command. At least I've mentioned few of the use of the function keys, like refreshing page. When we are browsing and this is hanging, we want to refresh the page, we can use the function keys. We can use the function key F5. If we press F5, it will refresh the page. If we want to close a program, we can use Alt F4. We press down the Alt key, we press F4, it will close the program. So those are some of the functions of the function keys. So in summary, I have highlighted the sections of the keyboard, each of the keys we have there. Like I said, the alphanumeric keys is used for typing alphabet and number. Numeric keys is used for what? Typing number. We have the special key. We are started from escape key, tab key, cap lock, shift, control, alternate key, space bar, enter key, backspace, and the delete key. All these keys I've explained how to use each of them. We have the cursor or arrow key, which we use to move the cursor around the screen or to select texts. We have function keys, and I've explained each of these keys. So in my next video, our series, this is tutorial number 9. In this tutorial, I will be discussing about the control keys, that is Ctrl A down to Ctrl Z. So the control keys. Control key is used with alphabet A to Z for different functions. So we are going to start from the first one, which is Ctrl A. CTRL A means select all or highlight all. So if we have a document, we have text, we want to select everything at the same time, we press down our control key without lifting our hand, then we press A. You can see it selects everything. That's what we call use Ctrl A for, to select all the text. It may not be text only alone, it can be image. We can have some other documents like this one. We can see we have series of images. If I select one of them, then I press Ctrl A, it will select everything on that screen will be selected. That's what we use Ctrl A for. Then the next one is Ctrl B. We use Ctrl B for bold. If we want to bold the text, we use Ctrl B. Let's go back. Like this, our the introduction to computer. We want to bold it, we are going to use Ctrl B. Don't forget, like I said, if you want to do anything on a computer system, how do you tell the computer that, okay, this is the text I want to bold? It is by highlighting, which means the first thing you do is to highlight the text. Then I take my cursor to the beginning. If you remember, I said you press down the shift key, then you use the arrow key to highlight. So I've highlighted the text. Now I want to bold. If I press Control, I press down the Control, then I press B. You can see it bold the text. So that is the use of the Control B. Then we have Control C. Control C is used for copy. If we want to copy a text, we use Control C. So most times we use them together with Control V. We call it copy and paste. Control C is to copy, Control V is to paste. So this heading, introduction to computer, I want to copy it from this place. I want to copy it from where it is and duplicate, have a duplicate under the number 2 that we have down here. You can see where mouse, the cursor is blinking. Then I will come there by selecting the text first. After selecting them, you press down the Control button, then you press C. So as I press the C, it has copied. That it will not show any sign, but you go to where you want to paste it, then you press Control V. You press down the Control button, then you press V. You can see I have the duplicate of that the introduction to computer. That's what we call copy and paste. Then Control D. We use Control D for strike through, superscript, and subscript. There are some other options that we have under that. So let's take for instance Naira. If I want to type 200 Naira, 200. We know Naira is like N with double stroke between. Most cases we will see some people when they are writing something that has to do with money, they will just use N to indicate that is because they don't know how to put the strike through. That's one of the options we have under the Control D. The first thing you do is to highlight the N. Let me bold it for us to see better. After highlighting the N, if you press Control D, press down the Control button and press D, it will bring some options. If you look at it, we have strike through, double strike through, superscript, subscript. If I use the strike through, it will be one line, but Naira sign is having 2 lines, so I will use double strike through instead. Then OK, you can see we have 2 lines across it. What is superscript? Superscript means power. So like this one, if I want to make it 20 Naira raised to power 0, I will use the same thing, Control D. Then instead I will choose superscript. Okay, you can see it takes that 0 like a degree up. So that is what you call superscript. If it is subscript, we press Control D again. That is what we call base in mathematics. That is 20 base 0. Then I will select subscript. If I press OK, it will bring the 0 down. So that is those are the functions of the Control D. So the next one we have Control E. Control E is used for centralize. If we want to centralize text, let's go back to our heading. Like this one now, this is the heading, Introduction to Computer. It's supposed to be at the center. If we want to take it to the center of the document, we use Control E. Just take your cursor there, highlight, like I said, you highlight the text, then press Control E. You can see as I press the Control E, the heading jumped to the middle of the text. That's Control E for you. Then we have Control F. Control F means find. If we want to find a text or we want to know the number of times the text appears, we can use the Control F. If we press Control F and we enter the name, it will highlight that name anywhere it appears. Let me press Control F. For Microsoft Office 10 and above, it will appear like navigation at the left side of the window. For below version, it will bring a kind of drop down. It will bring where you will input what you want to find. Like this one now, you can see it already has Introduction to Computer because I've copied that before. So if I remove that, if I write computer, so it will highlight every computer, everywhere that computer appear on the screen. Computer. You can see as I type computer, it highlighted all the computers on the screen, so we can easily locate where those texts appear. That's the essence of Control F. We can even replace it. Assuming as I have the computer, I want to change that word to another word, we can use find and replace. If we use find to find the name from all where it appears in the document, then we use replace to change the name to another name. So we have Control G. Control G is used to go to either line or paragraph. So for example, this is first line, Introduction to Computer. If I press Control G, you can see it brings a box. It's asking me where am I going to. I can go to line. In the situation where I have document of like 100 pages and I want to jump to like page 58, I will just select page here and write the number of page 58. If I press go to, it will go to page 58. But this is just an illustration page. I only have one page here. Let me use line instead. We have Introduction to Computer. So let me select line and go to line 3. You can see it jumped to third line. Computer is an electronic machine is the second line, while process data gives out information is the third line. So it jumped to line 3. That's what we use the go to for. Then we have a Control H. Control plus H is used to replace. We call it replace. We want to replace a text. Like I said earlier, find and replace, most time we use them together. The word computer, if I want to change it to plural, computers, by adding s. And you know the word computer are used many times in this document. I can use find and replace by using Control F. For find, you can see it type computer. I will come here to this small tick and select it. So you can see the drop down menu. Under the menu I have replace. If I select replace, so this is the dialog box is supposed to bring. Find what? I wrote computer, so replace it with what I want to use it to replace to computers, which is plural. I can replace replace the first one or replace all. If I press replace all, anywhere computer appear on the screen, it will replace everything with computers. You can see it even told me that what has been completed is search of the document and has made 4 replacements, which means the word computer appeared 4 times in the document and it has replaced all the 4. That is what it means. So we use Ctrl H to replace. Ctrl I is used for italic. I've used that before. I want to italicize introduction to computer. So okay, let me select this, the component of computer. I want to put it in italic. The first thing to do is to highlight. After I highlight, if I press down the control and I press I, you can see it takes it to italic form. If I want to remove it from italic, I'll press down control and press I again. It removes it from italic. So that's how we do that. So Ctrl I is used to take a text to italic form. We have Ctrl J is used for justification. What do we mean by justification? By the time we get to Microsoft Word, we understand all these terms better. So let me copy these texts using Ctrl C and paste it using Ctrl V to have a lengthy text. So computer, so let me copy, let me paste. So it's for us to understand what justification is. So now let's look at the text. Let's look at the first side. You can see that is justified. All the text starts from the same place. But let's look at the right side. It is in zigzag form. So this document does not look neater. So what we used to do to control that is what we call justification. We highlight. If I highlight, you can see I've highlighted the first paragraph. I want it to be justified at the both sides to be straightened. So if I press down the control button and I press J, it will do that. That's what you can see. Everything look neater. Justification, that's what Ctrl J is meant for. So Ctrl J for justification, Ctrl K for hyperlink. For assuming we will get some text like this text now, this computer, maybe I get it from a website, and I want people to know that okay, this particular computer, this is where I got it from. I can use the hyperlink by pressing Ctrl K. So you can see it has the word computer. So address, I can put the web address www.google.com. So if I press OK, you can see the text changed to blue. If I take my mouse pointer to it, mouse pointer means that's pointer that is dancing as I'm moving my mouse. If I'm taking it to it, it will show the address. You can see click to follow the link, click to follow the link. So that's what hyperlink is. We use Ctrl K to do that. So we have Ctrl L for left justification or left alignment. I said for justification earlier that once we press Ctrl J, the two sides will be straightened. But if I press Ctrl L, let me highlight the text. If I press Ctrl L, it will justify to the left, while the right side will be on zigzag like it was before. You can see, which means by default, computer is always be on Ctrl L, that is left justification. That's the reason why the right side is always on zigzag. So Ctrl L for left justification, Ctrl M for indent. If you remember, we said we use tab for indentation. That is, before starting the paragraph, we're supposed to leave some spaces. If I use tab, it will give like 5 spaces. Instead of using tab, I can use Ctrl M. Ctrl M. You can see, okay, for indentation, it indents all the paragraph, the whole paragraph. So you can see it gives it indents, that is giving spacing before the next paragraph. While the tab key is used for what? For the first line. that is to give space before starting the paragraph. That is what Control M is meant for. Control N to open a new document. This is Microsoft Word. I'm working on this. I want to do another work. I want to open another page. I will use Control. If I press down the Control and I press N, you can see it opened a new document. So Control N is used for open a new document. We have Control O. The use of Control O is to open a document. Now I am here and I have a work already saved on my computer system. It is that work that I want to open to do something inside. I will use Control O. If I press Control O, it will bring out a dialog box. You can see it's asking me. Then I can now locate, go to where the document is. Maybe if it is under the document, click on document. It brings everything that I have inside the document. If I select any of these documents, you can see I've selected it. You can see open down here. If I click on open, it will open the document. That is what Control O is meant for. Control O is used if you want to open a document. Control P to print. You want to print the document, we use Control P for printing. So this document, now I'm done. Now I want to print. If I press Control P, it will bring the option Control P. You can see this is the option print. Here we have the name of the printer. You select the printer you want to use for printing. You can, like this one, I have series of computer installed on this. You select the printer. After you select the printer, you already have the page document. Then if you click on print, so it's going to print the document. We use Control P for printing. Control Q, we use it to remove paragraph format. We use it to do what? To remove paragraph format. So like this one now, like I said earlier, if we use Control M, we say for indentation. So if I want to remove the format, I can use Control Q. You can see it removed the format. The same thing happens. Assuming each, like this one, I give it using tab to give 5-line spacing. Like this second paragraph, I use Control M to indent it. If I highlight the two paragraphs and I press Control Q, it will remove the format of the two at the same time. You can see it brings the two back to the left side. So that is the work of the Control Q to remove the paragraph format. We have Control R to replace. I've explained that earlier. To Control R to replace, to justify. Control R is used to justify to the right. We have left justification, like I used earlier, which is Control L. Now I want to justify everything to the right, especially for people who are typing Arabic. We know Arabic text starts from the right, not from the left. So in that case, if we want to justify that, we use right justification by pressing Control R. You can see it takes everything to the right, which means everything starts from the right down to the left. That's the reason why the left side this time around is in zigzag form, because we use right justification. Control S is used for savings. If we want to save a document, we use Control S. I've used that earlier. As I press Control S, it brings out a dialog box asking me to save. Control S. If I press Control X, it brings it. I will write the name, then I will click on save. It will save the document. So Control S, then Control T to create hanging indent. Control T is to create hanging indent. We already have indentation. So Control T. Control T, it means it will indent the whole paragraph except the first line. It will indent the whole paragraph except the first line, especially for the academic students who are writing project. So when it comes to references, this is how references are being done. So this is how reference page are being indented. Each of the references, you use that the Ctrl T to do that. Ctrl U is for underline. You want to underline a text. This, like our heading, you want to underline it, you select, then you press Ctrl U to underline. Ctrl U is used for underline. Ctrl V, paste. I've explained that. We use Ctrl C to copy. If you copy a text, when you get to where you want to paste it, you use Ctrl V to paste. Ctrl V, Ctrl W to close a program. Like the Microsoft Word, like this one I'm working on this computer. If I press Ctrl W, you can see it closes the program immediately. Ctrl W is used to close a program. Ctrl X is used to cut. Just like we have copy and paste, we have cut and paste. This word computer, I want to remove it here, and I want to place it at after the full stop here. So I can come here and copy and cut by highlighting. You can see I've highlighted it. If I press Ctrl X, it will disappear. If I come to after the full stop, let me take that to the next paragraph. If I press Ctrl V, it will appear there. That's what you call cut and paste, just like the way we have copy and paste. Ctrl X is to remove a text or document from somewhere and to put it in another place. Ctrl Y, undo. Ctrl Z, redo. I'm taking the two together. You can see like this one now, I remove computer from where it was before, I bring it to this side. If I want to undo, I want to go back to the preview. That before I do that, I will use Ctrl Z. You can see it disappeared. If I press it again, you can see it's taking it step by step back to that place. If I want to redo, if you remember when I wanted to cut it, then I first cut. After cutting, then I go to the next line by taking the next word to the next paragraph. Ctrl Y, if I press Ctrl Y, you can see it disappeared. If you remember, then I come to this side, I take the word computer is an electronic to the next paragraph. If I press Ctrl Y again, you can see it moves a one step further. Then before I pasted the word computer to this place, if I press Ctrl Y again, it appeared there. You can see it redo. As we are taking the step by step, that's how Ctrl Y and Z will be taking us forward or backward. That is what Ctrl Y and Z are meant for. Then the last ones are, we have Ctrl 1, Ctrl 2, and Ctrl 5. Single line spacing, double line spacing, and 1.5 line spacing. We will underline the line spacing. Line spacing means the space between each of the line. We can see the space that we have between here. If I highlight all the text using Ctrl A, if I press Ctrl 1, it will take the spacing to single line spacing. You can see closer. If I press Ctrl 2, you can see it will be wider. You can see how wide the spacings are. If I press Ctrl 5, it will take it to 1.5. Ctrl 1, you can see very close. Ctrl 2, Ctrl 5, which is 1.5, a little bit gap. Ctrl 2, wider. That's the widest. Ctrl 1, Ctrl 2, Ctrl 3 are used for line spacing. So that is it about the control keys from Ctrl A to Ctrl Z and Ctrl 1, 2, 3. You have to master this control key for you to be a professional when it comes to computer. So thank you very much. In the next video, I will be discussing about computer mouse. Computer mouse. What are the buttons? What do we use each of the buttons of this mouse for? So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like the video and share it with others for them also to benefit. So Boostpad Academy computer tutorial series is meant to teach you how to work with Microsoft Word, Excel and PowerPoint, but we just have to understand this basic before we can go properly into the full work. That's the reason why I'm taking out the time so to go through all these tutorials, all the topics I've been taking. So try and share it with others. The aim is to ensure that everyone are computer literate, because this generation we have today require the knowledge of computer as a basic skill for everyone. So once again, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you very much for watching the video, and share and subscribe. Meet you in the next video.